Hold up, I'm breaking ankles like some old tops. My rhyme steady going. Please don't ask me if the flow stop. Deep in the pocket like the roof on a drop top. 101 Dalmatians, the way your boy drop dots. Man, hold up, I got you diving when I'm juking. The clips so sick like the smell from when you're pooping. Man, get down and click the sub button and hit the bell, cause I got a lot more of it. Yeah, who's mains? Terrence House head, who's mains? Batman, Bruce Wayne.
What's goody, what's pop YouTube? It's your boy WhosManz. You already know what time it is. Getting into another back to the basics, and basically we're just gonna go over man defense. Now we've already gone over cover 2, we've already gone over cover 3, so now we're gonna go over we're gonna go over man defense. Now we're gonna go over the single high man defense. We're gonna go over the 2 high man defense. There's slight differences in both, but I mean, it is what it is. Now, I'm not going to go too in depth because most of y'all understand man defense. I mean, you man up, you know, me and you, wherever you go, I'm going. That's how it is. But there's some different techniques with both. And I mean, you can take both, you know, and mix that in with your defense, and it just becomes a great, you know, scheme that you can run. So like I said, I'm gonna just quickly go over it because man it is easy, very easy to go over. But anyway, before we get into it, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you never miss an upload. Because like I said, I'm going through this. I'm gonna go through all that stuff. Next, we're gonna go through match, and I'm gonna break the match up. And then when I get done with the basics of defense, let me know if you want me to go over offense as well. I think I could go into offense and maybe help you guys out with that. Actually, you know what? I will. I'm gonna go over offense too. Now, I'm not going over schemes. I'm just going over offense. Wouldn't take as long, but I'm gonna just go over, you know, personnel, when to, you know, when it is more beneficial to put out certain personnel, you know, all that good stuff. I'm gonna just go over the basics of that. What is the X, the Y, the Z, the H, you know, why they call certain plays, you know, this, that, and the third, why a certain kind of play is good. I'll go over the basics, y'all see. But anyway, that's gonna be it for right now. So like I said, go ahead, hit that subscribe button and the bell, especially if you're new, and then like the video for your boy, man. Let's get this to 10 likes. It's a small goal, but you gotta start somewhere. So let's get it to 10 likes, and I'm a GITG. Let's give it to God and let him figure that all out. But anyway, let's get into it. All right, so we are gonna go into 2 different types of man defense here. We're gonna go over cover 2 man, and we're gonna go over cover 1. First, I'm gonna start with cover 1, and we're gonna go from here. So anyway, so let's look at cover 1 man. So when you have man, it's very, you know, straightforward. But for those who may not understand, man is basically each cornerback you see, right? Each cornerback that is lined up, so you know, over their respective receiver is just going to go wherever that receiver goes. So Diggs is going to follow this receiver everywhere he goes on the field. So if he runs all just straight back, he's going to follow him straight back. And then he's going to line up over him, directly over him. There's not going to be some like weird alignment where he's here and then he goes to get him. If you're playing traditional man, you are lined up straight over top. This cornerback Woolen is going to follow Mooney wherever he goes, so on and so on. And yeah, so that's how that's going to go. This guy's in a QB spy. It doesn't really matter. Honestly, you can have him blitz just for the sake of this, but I'm going to have him in a QB spy. And then you have your pass rush. Now, whether you have 4 rushing, 5 rushing, 3, I mean, their whole thing is to get after the quarterback. And then single high, the reason why you have single high is because he's going to be in the middle of the field, and he is playing basically center field. He wants to take away anything deep. He wants to help out whoever is, you know, going deep. This guy needs to be a very rangy safety. He needs to be quick. He needs to be fast. You don't usually want a very slow safety back here unless he is a very, very smart guy. He understands where everybody's going. You know, he's one of those, like, he can just get to the spot before the other person does, just because he knows what's going on. But this is Madden, so usually you want to have your faster guy here so he can get to the spot quicker. And I'm going to show you a couple of things, because there's a couple of things that you need to know of the differences in cover one and like a cover one man and then a two high man, or cover two man, as they say it in Madden. So cover one man, couple of things you understand. You have a single high safety who is in the middle of the field. What does that mean for your cornerbacks? You want to try and keep the wide receivers inside. The reason you want them to be inside is because the safety is in the middle of the field. The closer you can get this receiver to the safety, the better. So, when they run their routes, generally I would like to see this receiver at least put hands on him and try to force him back inside a little bit. Kind of like if you remember cover three, they will put their hands on them and push them back inside, because why? There was a single safety who is over top in the middle. So with that being said, if you want them to be inside, you're going to have outside leverage. So you see here, he has outside leverage. He's staying outside because he wants, that throw to be a little further inside. The reason you want that throw to be more inside, for the safety help. We're going to come over here and look. Once again, this corner kind of starts running a route before St. Brown does, but you want to stay on the outside. Why? Once again, you can already see here he stays over top and outside, which depending on the technique that you want to run, I know a lot in the NFL they'll play like a trail technique, which means they'll actually be on, they'll be on that right hip on the outside, but they'll be a little bit behind them because they want to bait that throw into the safety, because they know the safety has help over top, but you want to bait. That's a technique, but that's not the technique he's running right now. It's weird. It's almost like he's running like a zone type technique. You kind of don't want to open your hips like this in man. Usually you want to stay, you want to be kind of close to that wide receiver. But anyway, you see he's playing the technique. He's staying on the outside. Same thing with this cornerback. He's going to try to stay on the outside, but he does an out-breaking route. So at that point, you want to kind of stay on the outside of him because he can't really go any much further. So you want to stay on the outside of him. He's just, kind of there, I guess. But so you see all that. He's just a QB spy. So anyway, they're going everywhere they're going. So you want to play outside in a cover one just because you want the outside shade, just because you want to funnel everything back into this, deep safety. Now, I mean, it is man, he can only do so much, but if you force these throws to the outside, that makes it a lot easier for the cornerback, because this whole sideline is also basically another defender. You can't. The cornerback basically has, extra help. One being the sideline and the other being the deep middle. Usually this is nice to run when you are trying to maybe take away an immediate threat. If the defense is coming out and they're throwing really quick routes, you can run man, and that helps. Also, you can know that, like, hey, if I have a really solid pass rush and I have some solid cornerbacks, I can run man and, allow my pass rush to get in there and, disrupt some plays, especially if you have really good guys at cornerback you trust. That is another, option there. So we're going to let this run one more time, and I'm going to let this, the safety do its thing here. And boom. And because this was a contain, he didn't allow Fields to get out of the pocket. But you're going to see here, they're going wherever they want to go. Now, with this being said, this actually presents one of the weaknesses for man. And that's rub routes. And if you want to look here on this trip side, you see here, Cole Kmet's going vertical. St. Brown's going vertical. and I think it's Velus Jones is coming underneath. Now look what happens. The cornerback that is guarding Velus Jones, who's off coverage, has to follow him wherever he goes. You have Cole Kmet, who is basically already, this defender here is in a good level, but the guy guarding St. Brown is moving inside while Velus Jones is moving outside. Now you get them to rub. Now this isn't a glitch. This isn't some like, oh man, this is a weak tactic. This is basically what you want to do in these trip sets or these bunch sets, which is why it's so hard to guard bunch in man coverage. Usually when you come out in bunch, stuff like this, very tight sets, they don't come out in man because there's so many players that are so close together running routes very close together like this that creates so much issues. As you see, both St. Brown, whether you think it or not, both St. Brown and Velus Jones are open. Now, if this was a very solid quarterback and he's looking over here, the second he sees them bump, I'm throwing this pass because they're both, hitting each other. Boom. You throw that and they can easily pick up 5 yards. And I want to show you guys a play that is good, really good against man defense, and that is the mesh. Mesh is one concept that is really good against man defense, simply because of the whole fact that you get players to rub. Now it doesn't work the same in Madden because I can't make my guys run the routes a certain way, because usually when you run the mesh against man, you're taught to have basically run your defender into the other defender. So they will run the routes, not the exact same every time, but you want to run, your routes a specific way to try and get your defenders to bump into each other. Now, it does happen in Madden quite a bit just because, players' awareness isn't exactly how it should be in real life. So I will run the mesh and then I'll have to cut and show you guys a good example of how it works. Run this mesh. And you see there was a bit of a rub on that play and both of those mesh guys were open. So I want you guys to look here. Slowly, boom, boom. They're running. And right here is what you're looking at. Now, usually you want to try to run them into their guys because they're, as a receiver, okay, this guy is looking directly at me. He is trying to stay on me. So as a receiver, you can run your route to kind of, okay, well, this guy isn't completely paying attention, so I'm going to make my guy run into him. And you see this, boom. That right there creates already enough separation for both players. You see this right here. Boom. That creates enough of separation for this receiver, but also this receiver as well. You see that bump right there created another 2 yards of separation. With this swing route, with this wheel route, I should say, clearing out this whole side of the field right here, if this guy is enough of an athlete where, okay, well, I can't keep up with this man, if this is like a Tyreek Hill or a player like that, who is just really explosive in the open field, like a Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, somebody like that who can just do damage in the open field. I'm telling you, this mesh just does damage against man defense simply for this reason right here. I do want to show you guys this against just straight up slants. And slants does a really good job. Let's go to concepts, quick pass. Slants. Slants just does such a good job. We're going to go slants middle. And you're going to see why slants is so good and why a lot of NFL teams use slants against man, especially if they know they may have the advantage or the size advantage or maybe the quickness advantage. they may think, okay, well, my wide receiver isn't necessarily faster, but he's quicker, or he's just bigger, so let me throw the slant, especially if they're throwing this man defense like this. So gonna let it run. Boom. You seen there, Fields could have thrown any of these passes. Now, the reason I'm saying this is you don't necessarily want to look at that route by Mooney, but look at that right there. I mean, that's also kind of like the example of mesh, but he could have thrown that right there, at least with this slants right here, if you want to, because you know, okay, if this is man, I know that this guy is looking directly at the running back. So at the snap, usually it's right at the snap, right when he breaks right there, they're throwing this inside. Why? You have position. Look at this. You have position. If I lead this down and away, and you've seen this in plenty of my gameplays when I go against cover zero blitzes, when I throw these slant routes, you throw it down and away right here. Now, I probably wouldn't throw this just because you got a player running directly in there. So he may, if this is a user, he'll definitely pick that off. But when you have this kind of position, even in Madden, it does hold true. Now, if you throw it behind him, or if you try to throw it further up the field here, this defender has a better chance. That's why you have to lead it forward. I can't get away from them. Forward and down. So I would lead it down and forward, away from the cornerback, and that receiver will pick that ball up. And if he's definitely faster than the cornerback, sometimes those can lead to huge gains. And like I said, you have seen that on my gameplays where I go up against cover zero blitzes, where I throw it and they pick up a huge gain. Actually, I did one against when I used the 49ers. I picked up a nice gain right there. And I think I'll throw that clip in to this game, or to this. Actually, I won't. But anyway, so slants is another very good concept to go against man. And then, of course, you got your double moves. Let's go to the instant replay. And you're going to see this route by Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet is not even that fast. So you're going to see he comes and plants. Boom. Now, this is a timing route. The reason it's so nice is maybe you've run slants before. Boom, he cuts in, and maybe you've been dicing them up with the slant route. So now they've changed up the style of coverage, and they're shading inside. You hit him with this double move. The second he plants right there, you throw it, and you see this kind of separation. What happens is with the route running, depending on what the route running is in comparison with the defender's man defense, I mean, look at how much separation you get. And I mean, I can put in clips of Deontay Johnson running this same route against, Marlon Humphreys, who is known to be a really good cornerback in the NFL, one of the best. Jamar Chase also did the same thing to him. Justin Jefferson. I mean, a lot of people run this zig route here, these double moves. And I mean, it just torches defenders because they really think that they're going to cut them off. Boom. And then they just stop and run the other way. It just creates a lot of separation. So that is one of the routes or different things you can do to really mess with man coverage. And it doesn't even have to be a zig route. I mean, just a double move in general in this game does really well against man coverage, simply because you are trying to get that cornerback to bite on a certain way. You know where you're going. The defender doesn't. They're solely going off of instinct and anticipation. You see, okay, he's running inside. Let me cut inside. The second you make that step, he's already going the other way, and you got that. So there is that. Now, aside from cover one man, you have cover two man. And I'm just going to go in Z spot because there's a couple of things I can show you guys. So the difference with cover two man as opposed to cover one man. So you remember cover one man, you have outside shade because you have help in the middle of the field. So cover two man, you have inside shade because you have help over top on the outsides. These guys are protecting up top and out here. So that means, okay, you know what? If he's helping me out here, I need to make sure the inside is taken care of. So the cornerbacks, the DBs, are more responsible for the middle of the field, whereas the safeties are more responsible for helping on the outsides. So you can already see where, once again, the vulnerable part of this defense would be the deep middle and not necessarily the deep outsides, because you have help over top on the outside and just not in the middle. The same rules apply for how, this works. Each person is manned up. He's going wherever this lineup. You see Pettis, he's going wherever Pettis is going. He's going wherever Mooney is going. It doesn't matter if there's any kind of anything. Barton's going where Khalil Herbert's going. They're all doing that. These two are in deep zones, so they're just helping up over top. They're not, in a man assignment at all. They're just regular deep halves. And yeah, the difference, like I said earlier, is they're playing an inside shade technique because they know they have help over top on the outside. So they really have to make sure that they don't get beat deep inside. This is a cover 2 press. They're pressed up, so that means they're going to put hands on these receivers and they're going to try to funnel them outside. They're going to try to push them outside, and they don't want them to have a free release into the middle of the field because it's a split field. It's middle of the field open. If you remember when we talked about middle of the field open, it's middle of the field open. So they don't want them to have a free release right up the middle of the field up in here because there's no help. There's no other zones. There's no other zones to help them in the middle of the field, because as soon as they hike this ball, if this running back runs to flats, he's out here and you see all that space in the middle of the field. So that's why it is really important to know what kind of man you're running. So you don't want to outside shade and then they throw a slant and now the middle of the field is just taken away. So I'm gonna look at this real quick and I want to show you guys what's going on. So they have the inside. So they basically, these corners want to stay on the inside. Now this slant is still really effective against slants are still effective no matter the shading or not, because that cornerback still is putting hands. And you see here, even here, he has that inside release, which if I was a cornerback and I want to stop that inside release, I'm not stepping to the left first. I'm going to put hands on you, but I'm going to try to force you to go outside over here. So he pushes him inside actually. And you see he's playing a trail technique. He's on that outside hip, trailing him. And now he's on the inside hip because he wants inside positioning. So he's on that inside hip. Boom. Once again, I told you the zig route is really effective, and it's really effective if they have the inside shade because he's already inside. And now, he has a free, basically that release to the outside there. And then once again, you see here, he has inside shade. He's going to, you see how he turns his back to the QB. That's a huge signal that you're in man defense if you're on offense. If you're on offense, you look and that defender turns their back, that's man, because in zone, they open up to the quarterback. Man, they close their back. So he's on that inside. Boom, that he takes to the outside. And you see why it's nice to have an inside shade because you have this help over top right here. So if he does try to fit this in, that safety's already over there. It's different if the safety is here. You want outside shade so you have help on the other side. Same here. The only difference is they're going inside. So now you have help inside. There. You see this linebacker here is running to the flats to this running back. And that's why I said it's really important these corners take the inside shade, because look at all this space in the middle of the field. If somebody gets beat inside, that could be a huge gain. So when you're a cornerback, you're playing too high man, really make sure that you are not getting beat inside. Your help was on the outside. And then once again, you see, boom, that route's there. In real life, this quarterback throwing that's a hard completion right there, especially if this cornerback, I'm on the wrong person, especially if this cornerback plays the proper technique, stays inside. If he stayed inside, or if he played a true trail technique like what he's doing right now, if I want the inside shade and I see that ball coming out, he's not going to go behind him like that, especially if the ball is already out. You know, you're guarding this guy, boom. If you're looking, your trail technique, the trail technique is good because you can still kind of keep an eye out for the quarterback. But if you're playing that true trail technique and the quarterback decides to throw this and he stops like that, I mean, either this is getting batted down or this is getting picked off. So honestly, this is not a good pass. Now, depending on the route from the receiver, though, if that receiver does a really good job, I guess you can say, but having those hitches against man is not the best, because even though he did this, he still should have been able to stick his hand in there and bat this ball down. That is the one beef that I have with man defense in this game. Like, I think a lot of people think man defense is too good. Personally, it could be better. If they played it like they did in real life, I don't think a lot of people would complete the passes they think they should. Because if you think about this, I mean, look at this. He's already kind of phasing the quarterback. Ball's in the air. This isn't like a go ball where his back is to the quarterback. He sees this ball. From here, if you say this pass is getting completed, I would laugh, because all this cornerback has to do is stick his hand right in there, especially if this wide receiver is catching a ball like this. Stick your hand in there and knock the ball down. But hey, it's Madden. I'm not going to expect the most from this. But anyway, that is basically man defense. Like I said, this is going to be a quick video. It might have not been that quick, but anyway, this is man defense. There is a difference between cover 2 man and cover 1 man, just in the technique, whether you will take an inside or outside shade. So you can use these and mix it in, especially if you know how to mix in things. So you can make this look like cover 4, and this could be cover 1, or you can make this look like cover 2 like this. And you see, maybe you confuse your opponent, you do something like that. And even with cover 1, you can trick them and make them think it was like a cover 3, for instance. You come out and cover 1 man and they want to run 4 verts on you. Now you've basically taken away everything that they want to do. So yeah, I mean, now that you know about the basic zones, mix those in, mix those together. I mean, mix your Tampa 2 with your cover 2 man, mix the cover 3 with cover 1 man. You can even do a cover 3 buzz, where it comes out in a 2 high look instead of a single high look, and it's more of a rotation into cover 3. You can run a cover 2 invert, where you have single high but then it rotates into 2 high. There's a whole lot you can do with just the basic defenses to confuse your opponent. So hopefully this video helped you guys out with tying all that stuff together, and hopefully you get more stops in this next game, just knowing this stuff. Now we will go into match, and match is going to be a little bit more difficult to understand than just regular straight up drop coverage, because that's what we were talking about with Tampa 2 and cover 3, was drop coverage, where you drop into a certain zone. Match is a little bit like man defense, but it also has, you're playing zone. So, if maybe a certain player doesn't do a certain thing, now you're in the zone and you're helping out, whoever. So match is going to be a little bit more difficult to understand, especially if you don't understand match to begin with. And to be honest with you, man, it took me a minute to learn, but I took the time to learn. I started trying to learn about match defenses in 2018 or 2019, I can't remember, and I have a pretty good understanding of match. There's still some things that kind of either forget on the fly and remember like directly afterwards. But I mean, hey, the more you learn about the fundamentals of this football game, man, the more you understand with these plays and why you think maybe this is a glitch or that's a glitch. There's glitches in Madden, but I don't think there's as many glitches in Madden as you think. And I think some of the stuff you think aren't glitches are glitches. So the more you learn, man, the better you get at Madden. And trust me, I've gotten a lot better, I think, personally, learning the fundamentals of football, playing this game. So anyway, thank y'all for watching. Like I said earlier, if you do enjoy stuff like this, hit that like button, smash the like button for your boy. I'm trying to get to 10 likes this video. And yeah, we gonna see y'all next time. I got a Falcons gameplay coming up next, and then like I said, we're going in the match. And then yeah, when I get through all the fundamental stuff, we're just gonna be playing, you know, just playing regs. I would like to start streaming, but I don't know if my computer will handle that properly. So I may do a test stream just to see on a weekend, random weekend. We just gonna see. But for right now, I'm gonna let y'all go. I'll see y'all next time. Remember, GITG, give it to God, man. I'll see y'all later. Peace.